Hey guys, what's going on this evening? Hope everybody is doing really good. Hope everybody had way too much turkey to eat last week, uh, and I guess I had too much, or perhaps you're a more of a ham guy. I like both, and I guess depending on which side of the family I'm currently eating at, kind of depicts what I eat. And but we had some good food, and looking forward to doing it again in just a few weeks for Christmas, and I hope you all are as well. We've had a ridiculously busy week at the shop, of course, with Black Friday. Most everybody, I would assume, these days considers that to be one of the busiest days or busiest weeks, or heck, now the busiest months of the year for doing shopping, whether it's for Christmas presents or uh, for yourself, I hope, a bunch of model kits. We certainly had a lot of good deals going, and I really hope that you were able to uh, take advantage of some of those good deals. We are actually still catching up from the weekend. We had so many orders that we just hadn't been able to get them all out the door yet. I apologize about that if you're still waiting on us, but we are on track to hopefully get caught up tomorrow. We almost got there today, but still a little bit of weekend orders hanging, and of course get caught up through the day as well. Last time we talked, of course, last week I wasn't here. Well, I was, but we were doing Thanksgiving stuff, so I wasn't on the live stream. Last time I talked with you, we were waiting on customs to clear one of our shipments, our Ukraine shipment actually, and they finally did. Um, it was about, I don't know, 5 or 5:30 Wednesday before we left for Thanksgiving. We got a call that they had cleared it. So of course we weren't able to get it that day, but we got down to the airport and got that first thing Friday, and got finally got all the uh, Sally bomber shipments out. The pre-orders, those are out. Yeah, if you got one of those on order with us, you should have it by now. If you don't, you should have it maybe tomorrow. But those all left our shop Friday. Um, and it's interesting, that was the KI-21B, and ICM is following up with an A, KI-21A. And I thought that was going to be a release for next year. Well, come to find out, they just let us know that it's a December release. So they're getting those. They're finishing up the production on those, and ours will hopefully go in the mail in about, I don't know, 2 weeks from now, I think. So we should have those in January, and we're gonna do a few things different this time to try to get through customs a little quicker. Um, I don't know what's been different. We've been clearing customs from Ukraine for 2 years with no problems, but this time, go figure. So we'll do what we can to try to get that better for this next shipment. But that'll be pretty cool. We're excited about that. The other things from that part of the world, the mini art kit, the P47D. I just opened that up a little while ago, and I was looking at these parts, and it's pretty cool. It's a nice kit, and uh, they're following this up with what they're calling the advanced version, and it's got different decals, and it's got some other usually what would be considered aftermarket parts all included. The plastic, of course, is going to be the same, but take a look at that. We'll have those. I think we'll have them in December, uh, if I understood correctly. Um, but that's going to be a pretty cool kit. And last time we were on here, um, we said that they were going to do another production run of the basic version, and since then I have found out that that is in fact true, but it's not going to be until after the first of the year. So we're probably looking at, I don't know, maybe February, maybe March before we get that. Um, but these kits are really neat. I really hope that Mini Art continues down the 48 scale path, because their stuff, they've done 35th scale and other things for a long time, and it's nice to see them trying to get into the I say trying to get, they are into the 48 scale market now, and this kit is certainly a home run for them. So looking forward to seeing what else they have in the pipeline. So um, let me say hello to you guys. Barry, I see you're here. Nice to see you. Good evening to you. Carlos, hello to you as well. I wasn't sure uh, if I was going to make it tonight, so I didn't promote this or say I was going to be on. We're at the shop stupid early, first thing in the morning, starting to get all these orders out, and you know, we were there late and come home doing family stuff, and then I realized, oh yeah, it's Wednesday night, so I just grabbed the computer and got on here real quick. So I appreciate you guys seeing that I was here and joining me for a few minutes. Um, the the Dora kit that I've been working on, this thing is just, I don't know what to do because I've been looking at the I forget the guy's name. There's a guy, you if you're a fan of this Dora model like I am, you've probably seen this gentleman's build. You can see it on Armorama and some other websites, and several people have done builds, but this one in particular, I can't remember his name. He goes through and kind of uh, tells you all the things that he did to modify his to make it more accurate. And I've looked at all of his modifications, and I've looked at two or three other people's modifications, and of course, I've got every picture you can imagine of this thing because I love the gun. And somehow I keep finding new pictures of it that I've never seen. But what I can't decide at the moment is, let's see. So the the real Dora sat on, it would have been 8 wagons. It's got 4 of these carriers that the gun sits on. They're opposite of each other because this runs on 4 rail track, or excuse me, 4 carriers running on 2 railroad tracks side by side, forward and rear. And Soar Art decided that they would make 4 wagons instead of 8. Now, so you're supposed to make it more accurate, you would cut this in half, and I can kind of understand why, perhaps why Soar Art did it this way, because once you put the carrier on and you step back, you know, you could argue that you can't tell if that's 1 or 2 wagons. But the problem for me is I'm trying to find pictures of the real gun that show it in such an angle that will convince me that I need to go ahead and go to the trouble of cutting this in half. And you might say, well, just cut it in half. There's nothing to it. Well, that's kind of true, but it's kind of not true because the way this is done, it's so large. It's got two, let's see. So it's got this that's got all the brakes built into it and all of that. And this sits under this. I put this together to get some measurements. I got to pull these back off and stick this in there. So you've got a lot of stuff going on. And once you cut it in half, here, of course, there's going to be nothing. So you've got to build a new end for this side and a new end for this side. So I can understand why you would want to go to the trouble of doing this, but at the same point in time, this thing is so huge, it's going to take long enough to build it. So if you've seen any pictures of this thing that would convince me to go ahead and do this, I would love to see them. I mean, I understand right in here, I believe that there should be more space is the issue. So when you step back and look at this right here, it's obviously 1 wagon, but the real one was built on 8, not 4. So under this carrier, and the idea was the fact that the Dora, when it fired, this thing was not, it didn't have an engine or anything. It was carried to the site where it was going to be used, and then with two gigantic cranes, they assembled this thing. So they had all these other trains that would pull this thing, and then they would assemble it on site. They had the two rail tracks that this sat on, and then they had two more rail tracks on both sides of it that the trains brought the pieces of it, and then they set up the big cranes. It was a huge. It's kind of ridiculous to think about all the trouble they went through to build this thing. And then they would tear it down and move it to the next place. But when they would fire it, they didn't have it on a straight track. If you look at the pictures and watch the videos of it firing, the railroad tracks that it's sitting on is at a curve. Well, so the gentleman that, and I need to figure out his name, but the gentleman that I was looking at on how he went about cutting this in half, he alluded to the fact that if you build a curved rail to display this on, if this is in one piece, it can't make the curve because of how wide it is. If this is a curve, you can see the problem. So by splitting this in half and creating two wagons out of each one of these pieces, that fixes the problem, and then this is able to curve like it's supposed to. Well, I want to display it on a curve because that's how it would have been used. So I'm probably going to end up cutting this in half. I'm just trying to talk myself out of it because it's going to be a lot of extra work, but that's probably going to happen. The so this Hey Stuart, nice to see you there, buddy. I see you. See you just got here. I appreciate you joining us. And Barry, yeah, the alerts. Yeah, everybody turn the alerts on. So in the future, when I start these shows, it'll pop up on your phone or your computer or your TV, however you watch, and let you know that I'm here. Um, so in the Sora, the deluxe kit, the only photo etch that it comes with are these grates, uh, graded platforms or walkways or whatever that go on top of the carriers that sit on the wagons. And that's really cool. I'm glad that those are included, but a very large part of this model, well, let's see if I can find it. Very large part of this model, and this is just one of the smaller sections. This here, and you probably can't see it in the video, but this is a solid plastic part, and on here is basically metal grate, and you can see the metal grate, but it's solid behind it. You can't see through it. Well, all the walkways and the platforms on the sides of this gun, they were grates. It should be like this, but yet they're giving us these solid pieces. That's going to look terrible. That would be like using this on a ship model for the handrails all the way around. You can't see it. Why would you want that? So that means I am going to have to get my own wire grate and cut it to the right size and replace these plastic pieces with the wire. So that's going to be a huge undertaking. And one of the other things that goes right along with those is the handrails that attach to these walkways. They're too tall. They scale out to. I mean, I'm 6 feet tall. They would be as tall as me. Well, that's no good. So these have to be. I forget the exact measurement that it scales out to, but these handrails virtually have to be cut in half. It's not exactly half, but that's what you basically got to do. You got to cut those down. So that's going to be a huge task. But it'll be worth it in the end. And there's some other things that a lot of people nitpick and say, well, this should be fixed and that should be fixed. And some of those I've kind of started me an Excel file, and I'm just making note of all the things that various modelers have pointed out that could be corrected. And I've just got to make my mind up on what I'm going to do. The number one biggest problem with this kit, and this one blows my mind that SoarArt missed this one. I have no clue how you could miss this one. The gun barrel is almost a foot too long. Now, that I forget the exact measurement, but that's just crazy. And if you look at the picture of the kit on their instructions and you really stare at it for a second, you can kind of realize that, yeah, that gun barrel is a little bit long and silly looking. And then when I first heard about this problem, about the barrel being too long, I'm like, no, there's no way that SoarArt could have messed up and made that gun barrel that long. But then you start looking at the real pictures and you realize that, oh, yeah, that gun barrel's not nearly that long. I mean, look how far it's sticking out of the front of the machine there compared to that. So it's hugely long. And the other problem is not only is it too long, I don't have the barrel in here, it must be in there. The different spots where it breaks, these are all not the correct proportions. So it's not just a matter of chopping off a few inches of the front of the barrel. No, you got to chop off a little of this section. You got to chop off a little of this section. You got to chop off a little of this section and make sure, because again, going back and looking at the real gun, you look at each different section where the different breaks are. It's totally wrong in the kit. So I got to thinking, okay, SoarArt, shortly after they released this kit years ago, they issued a aluminum turned metal gun barrel for this thing. So we reached out to them and I said, hey, do you still make this? And of course, the answer was no, unfortunately. But I have found another manufacturer out of Germany that is currently producing an aftermarket aluminum gun barrel for this thing. And I asked if they had any, and he does. And we've got a shipment of them headed to us because not only is this going to be a metal turned barrel that requires no sanding and seaming and trying to make something that should be perfectly round. Uh, it also supposedly fixes and corrects the problem with the lengths and the different sizes. So I haven't seen it yet. I should have them in stock. I hope maybe next week, perhaps the week after. But supposedly it fixes all the problems, and that's going to be really cool. So I'm very excited about that. Unfortunately, they're not cheap, as you can imagine. I mean, you know how much we're paying for regular gun barrels for tigers and panthers and things. I mean, here's the end of the gun barrel. Imagine a metal gun barrel that's this, and then I guess this much more. It's not cheap, but I think it'll be well worth it when we're already paying as much as we are for the kit itself. What's a little bit more for a corrected and very nice gun barrel. So I'll hopefully, I don't know if I'll have it in time for next Wednesday night, but maybe the following Wednesday. Hopefully, I'll have that and we'll check it out. I'm excited to see it. And then the same company, and I forget their name right now. Forgive me if you see this video, buddy. We just met this week, but he also has a set of shells, the ammunition set for this thing. And in the kit, the ammo set there, I mean, they're split in half. So putting them together, and fixing the seam, it's not that big of a deal. We've been fixing seams on things for years. But when the ammo shell is like this long, it'll just be nice to have an aluminum set. This is going to be really nice. So those will be here as well. So we'll have to check that out. But that's where I'm at with the Doro right now. I'm getting all these things put together, and I'm getting them put together up to the point of having to make the decision to modify it or not. And I'm probably going to modify it. So it's just going to make it to where it takes longer, but takes longer and costs more, right? But the end result's going to be awesome. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. The Real Hawkeye. Hey, nice to see you. And yes, we are happy to be here, and we are alive and well and having a good time. So good to see you. Let's see. I've heard the effort to build and transport that thing. Yeah, Stuart. Uh, I think that can probably be said for a lot of things that they tried. They had so many interesting things and so many huge tanks and so many of this and all these great ideas. And, had they had thousands and thousands of them like we had Shermans, perhaps that would have worked. But, we found something that worked and made tons of them, and it ended up being a good thing. But the craziest thing about the Dora to me is that there wasn't just one, there was two, and they were working on a third one. So it's just nuts. But it's things like that that interest me in the model building hobby for sure. So I'm glad they had all that weird stuff. Let's see. Hello, 411 maintainer. Nice to see you. And hey, Jim, nice to see you tonight. Uh, I'm glad you got your book, and hope you enjoyed that, and hope you're looking forward to future books. We got some more things coming soon. Got the TBD Devastator in action book has finally the container is headed our way, and we're supposed to have it next week. It cleared the Panama Canal this week and got delayed a little bit down there. Apparently, they're having a drought and having an issue getting some of the bigger ships through. But our ship made it through, and we should have those books next week and get those out to everybody. So um, and Jim, this is the $1 million question, and the answer as it stands right now is I have no clue. I I joked with my wife a couple of weeks ago about displaying it in our living room. We have an entertainment system where the TV is, and on top there's not really anything up there. We kind of put some seasonal decorations up there. We're going to put our Christmas village up there soon, and but usually sometimes it's empty. There's nothing up there between holidays or whatever. And I said, hey, the Dora would look really good up there. She didn't like that idea. So I don't know. I want to at some point up at the shop. I keep as I have time keep you know working on my office area, trying to make that cool. We just hung some nice posters up that a buddy of ours named Fred gave to us to hang up around the shop. So kind of decorating it, making it look nice, and I'd like to display it up there somewhere, but um, same problem here at the house. How do I use enough space at the shop that I'm not using for work, to display this thing? But I guess I could just call it work. I mean, it is a model, so maybe that's where it'll end up. And then all you guys can come to the shop and shop the warehouse and stare at this model that's massively too large. So we'll see. Oh man, yeah, Jim, you are very right. That is very true. And yes, they make great models. It's amazing to me how some of the model companies can take. When you look at Dragon, they they will take a 35th scale whatever German subject that in reality there was only one, but they'll have like 10 or 15 different variants of the model kit. Uh, but we end up buying one of each anyway. But I don't know how that works out, but it does. So, all right, what about you guys? Uh, Thanksgiving, did you eat a lot of turkey? Did you build any models? I mean, hopefully you had some time to sit back and do nothing. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you were too busy running around seeing family or having family come over. But I hope you had a good time anyway. Did anybody get to do any modeling at all? Let me know in the comments in the chat, and I'd love to see what you guys were up to. That is true. That's true. I'm hoping if I can get it built before I say before I would before the shows start next year, the IPMS shows. I'd love to take it, but I mean the shows are going to be here before you know it. There's no way I'm going to get it done before the over here in Atlanta. All of our shows are at the beginning of the year. There's no way I'm getting this thing done by that time. But I don't know. Maybe some of the shows in the middle of the year. And if that be the case, then it's going to stay packed up in a box to travel back and forth to shows for a while. So that will prolong my having to figure out where I'm going to display it permanently. There you go, working on some models. So what kind of models are you building? What is your main area of interest when it comes to your modeling table? I'd love to know. I got to pull this thing out and make it what's in the box video. I'll try to get that done later this week so you guys can see it. It's really neat. They did a good job with this. The that that Magic Factory Corsair, those will finally be here next week too. I know I'm like really late getting those, but I'm pretty excited to see that. I've seen some build-ups of that already, and um, I'm excited about that. It's going to be a really nice kit, I think. So there you go, Barry. It's always a good time having family down. Anything that catches your eye. Yeah, that sounds like me. Mostly ships and planes. Yeah, they. One of the things I say a lot is uh, modelers are modelers. If it's a model, I'll buy it, and that's a lot of times very true. You know, you might have your go-to, like in your case, ships and planes, but you know, if you're like me, if you see something that you like, it doesn't matter what it is. Um, so there you go. Yeah, I'd love to see pictures. I'm excited to see that thing get finished up. I'm glad you got to put some time in on it. Um, that's really about all I've got for this week, guys. We've got, like I said, tomorrow, or at least by Friday, we'll have all the Black Friday excitement taken care of and handled, and all this stuff out to you. We've got a massive amount of restock sitting out back in the receiving area, the loading dock, that we just haven't been able to touch this week yet. So look for a lot of restocks coming soon, just from I don't even know what all's back there. So it'll probably be next week. But if there's anything you've been waiting on that's out of stock right now on our website, make sure to do the notify me when back in stock thing by putting your email in. And if it's here, it'll shoot you an email as soon as it comes back in. But there's a heck of a lot of stuff back there that we'll start swimming through after we get caught up from the weekend. And the just a lot of stuff. All that Ukraine stuff, only about half of it's been received. I know there's a huge trumpeter shipment back there. The to me F-35Bs, the I Love kit, Curtis Wilbur's. They of course they arrived, but they were all sold out. So we're working on our second shipment now with the pre-orders. So and the second shipment's about sold out too. So, but those will be here soon. Just a lot of good stuff. So keep an eye on all that. Let's see. Okay. Edward set bought from Squadron. Cool. Awesome. That'll be great. Jim, I'd love to see all that when you get done with it. Interested to see how it turns out for you. So, um, yeah, that's really it. We've got, oh man, what was there was another new kit that I found out about today that's going to be coming out. I don't know. I'll have to have to send an email out when I remember. Just a lot of stuff going on right now. So, ah, and let's see. Where can you post photos? Send the photos to me, Jim, at my email. Just send it to info@squadron.com, and just put attention to me, attention Brandon in the subject line, and I'll make sure to get them so I can check those out. And I'll reply to you and let you know I got them. So yeah, I'd love to see that. Um, I keep hinting at a guest that I'm going to have on here soon, and it's going to happen. But just this time of year, he's busy, I'm busy, and we'll get together soon and do it. It's going to be interesting to hear from him. So stay tuned for that. Um, yeah, I guess that's going to wrap us up for tonight. Stay tuned. Watch your emails. I got a lot of exciting things coming soon. And until next time, y'all take it easy. Build some models, and I'll be back here next Wednesday, and we'll catch up and do this again. I appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good evening, and we'll see you soon.